If you think planning ahead means having a strategy for next year, think again. Today, I'm going to show you how developing foresight is your secret weapon to staying ahead of the competition and leading your team to unparalleled success. Buckle up. Ancient script says, the prudent see danger and take refuge, but the foolish keep going and pay the penalty. So there are two types of people, which means there are two types of leaders. If you find yourself always falling behind, guess which category you belong to. So let's break down the proverb and the two big takeaways. Number one, you're either willfully ignorant or passively ignorant. Either you're unaware of the dangers or you choose to ignore them. Say you've got your startup agency to 60K a month and you're buying back your time through hiring. You know it's important to get the right person for the job, but the thing you're hiring for is something that takes 2 hours out of your day and you hate doing it. Only 3 people applied and none of them were a good fit. So what do? You hire the lesser of the 3 evils. Well, that decision's going to come back to haunt you. You're aware of the dangers, but you're choosing to ignore them for a short-term gain. And that type of decision making is even worse than the passively ignorant because they aren't even aware of the cost they will pay. You're aware and you said to yourself, I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. Well, you have a choice to remain ignorant or to become aware. And that leads me on to my second takeaway. Number 2, you don't mind paying the cost of inaction, or you haven't yet understood how expensive it is. If you want to grow, scale, increase revenue, and be an effective leader, you can't afford to remain ignorant. It's costly, and you will learn that cost is expensive. There is no avoiding that charge. And as you continue on this path without making adjustments to avoid potential harm, you will have to pay the penalty. You can't afford to have blind spots, and you can't afford to know you have blind spots and choose to ignore them. That leader I just spoke about who hired for a short-term gain, there are elements of decision-making and strategic thinking that they're ignorant of. Those are blind spots for them. We can run the full thought experiment. What would happen next? You took the person who doesn't meet your criteria. You spend time training them and hoping they'll be able to do it independently. 2 months in, you're becoming frustrated because they aren't able to manage a task in a way that are beneficial to you and feeds positively into the business. Now they're costing you more than you intended in the first place in mental resources, financial resources like training, etc. And the most costly of all, time. So now you have to hire someone else to manage them and ensure the job gets done. It's gone from costing you 2 hours per day to costing you how much ever time you spend onboarding the new person and how much ever time you need to meet with the new direct report that's managing the previous poor hire. It also costs you 2 salaries and you're only getting back 1 return. The thing you were doing in 2 hours. That's a pretty costly trade, all for want of identifying and dealing with a blind spot, making sure you're not willfully or passively ignorant. And that is why you always fall behind. So what am I saying? It's time to stop being foolish and start being prudent. The prudent see danger and take refuge. See danger. They have a level of awareness and are alert to potential dangers or problems. Take refuge. They take proactive action, steps to avoid dangers, seeking solutions before issues escalate. Ignoring problems or hoping they resolve themselves is a recipe for disaster. These are the questions to check yourself on if you're in the why do I always fall behind crowd. What are you doing to develop your awareness? How often do you evaluate past trends, identify patterns, analyze the likelihood, and put relevant fail-safes in place? If you start doing these things, you can begin to demonstrate a level of wisdom and careful consideration. Then you won't be wondering why you always fall behind anymore. If you carry on the way you are now, then you'll just keep paying the price, and pretty soon you'll run out of business. So develop foresight. It's your secret weapon and it's free. All it takes is some mental effort. If you're not sure where to start, then do it with one decision before you make it. Run the thought experiment. If I do this, what are the possible outcomes? And based on what I already know, which ones are most likely? Then what options does that leave open to me? Which one do I want to avoid and which one do I really want? What can I put in place to secure the one that I want and avoid the one that I don't want? Remember, this isn't about predicting the future with some crystal ball. It's about using common sense and mental effort. If you'll do the mental work of developing foresight, you'll stay ahead of the competition and lead your team to unparalleled success. Now, if you're a leader who's been operating in ignorance, whether that's willfully or passively, then don't settle for paying those consequences anymore. You can take my free quiz at the link below, and I'll send you for free a detailed report that will help you see your leadership blind spot and give you actionable steps to overcome them. Be blessed, and I'll see you on the next one.